What's up, everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, I know it's been a while since you've seen your boy, but we are back. This is Blacksploit, where we talk about everything Black film. I mean, from old to new to coming out. We're going to talk about it. Now, today, very special guest, creator himself, doing his thing. We got TJ from AightSoBoom. If you haven't watched on Instagram, now on YouTube, soon to be collaborate a little bit. Check out his stuff. It's a must. TJ, welcome to the show, brother. Welcome to the show.
Super excited to be here, man. Thank you so much for having me.
We bring you today, probably, some of you probably heard the hype about this film. It's being talked about everywhere on social media, in the news, because the cast is crazy. The harder they fall. That's what we're talking about today. Director James Samuel. Now, his name may not sound familiar to a bunch of you, but he's done some great work. He's worked with Baz Luhrmann on The Great Gatsby. So if you think about that and have watched the film already, you'll kind of see some stylistic similarities where he kind of picked up on a couple of things. Give me a little bit of your initial reaction to the film.
All right. So off the back, I'm like, this is definitely the good, the bad, the meets the ugly. The good, the bad, the ugly meets your classic Quentin Tarantino film. Like together, mixed up in a whole bowl, and served to you just with seasoning. I mean? Honestly, definitely the person who kept me in with Jonathan Majors. He definitely pulled me in, and then as they brought in more characters, it was just like, oh snap, let's see what they're talking about. Oh, Zazie Beetz, oh my gosh, Dion Cole, oh my gosh, RJ Cooper. Like, I'm here for all of you guys.
So when you were about an hour in, what were your thoughts at that point? Were you like, okay, I'm digging this, or you're like, okay, I want to see it pick up a little bit?
I'm a big kind of character person when it comes to films. You know what I mean? So like, I like to see where the characters is now, and then how they got there, and then like just a lot of their their thought processes with everything. So I felt like the Rufus Buck gang being way more established. I was like, I need to know, I don't want to give any spoilers, but I was like, I need to know like what makes them tick, because the way they are so closely knit after everything that happened, like there's got to be something special there.
You mentioned the characters. I was thinking, I want to know more of who Buck is, right? Like he was ruthless. That opening scene is ruthless, right?
Yeah.
I want to know, and we get that from the story, from what he's telling, right? But we didn't. I would have loved to have seen what kind of led up to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you did have 2 hours. You did have 2 hours to kind of throw in a couple of scenes to do that, and I think that's one spot where it kind of lacked for me, was the character development.
First and foremost, the fact that Edie gets like some of the most interesting characters. If we go to like X-Men, what I mean? His character is extremely powerful and dies like that. You know what I mean? This guy, the layers and the fact of like his presence on film, as well as like you start to find out like, oh snap, he's married. Wait a minute, you know what I mean? Like, oh, there's like this whole depth. Like, who taught you how to shoot like that? You got quick draws and stuff like that, but like, who taught you how to be a long range sniper? You know what I mean? Do you have a military background? So that goes more into the fact that it's like, you just had so many opportunities. You kind of put these characters on a pedestal and was like, hey, these guys are dope. And then you just was like, yeah, they're dope, and you don't get to know like what got them to be where they're at. That was huge for me.
Rufus Buck. These are two big time games, right? And one game it has a leader who is out for revenge. It's a revenge film. Also, it's a revenge Western film, right? And he's got all these different pieces of his gang, and we get introduced to them in certain aspects, right, in certain scenes. But again, we miss out on where they came from, right? And I'm not talking about some crazy backstory. I just need a little bit about like, give me something about each gang. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think that was probably my biggest disappointment, because as I was watching, I was like, okay, it took me on a high, and then it was like plateaued. I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
If you just can give me more, right? Speaking of characters, did you have a favorite within the film?
I mean, how can you not say Regina King? How can you truly not say Regina King, Queen? You know,
all hail the Queen. Yes.
All hail Queen.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Where is who?
Your boss.
My boss. Clearly, you don't know me.
Like her performance was just was in my opinion like she don't miss. She ain't missing a minute. Nah. Especially when it comes to like these fighting scenes. I think her roles in Watchmen definitely helped her in these fighting scenes that she had to deal with. So I think she was like well prepared. She did like an amazing job. But you know who surprised me the most? Dion Cole.
I didn't think you were going to talk about Dion. Okay.
Outside of the obvious, like, you know what I mean? I'm a huge Blackish fan. And him as a person, he's hysterical. If you've never seen his stand-up on Netflix, oh my gosh, like funny. I think his performance was just extremely surprising.
It was very good. I wanted to see more interaction between Cole and Elba in their character. I wanted to see a little more because like everything you just said is the reason why I wanted to see more, right? Yeah. You're the leader. You're the leader of this gang. You come back. You try to get your, you coming back to what you think is yours, and you find out that your boy ratted you out and now took over your kingdom. Buck was just not in enough confrontations for me. Being the guy he is. I expected him, because if you think about old school Westerns, those spaghetti Westerns, Sergio Leone, those type of Westerns, when you think about those, the bad guy was always in some picture somehow. Like he was always in something, doing something, scheming with someone, in a battle with someone. And I feel like Buck, it was just not enough of that for him to be that guy. Again, that kind of goes to the development of these characters in a way.
I guess maybe what James Samuel tried to do was kind of have this character's reputation be more like menacing than maybe him on screen.
There's three things that really stood out. The cinematography was great. The soundtrack, I mean, when you have Jay-Z behind it.
Heat. I mean, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, some of the scenes where they're riding up to certain towns or on the horses, and you hear rap or hip hop, and then old school R&B. You're like, wait a minute, this is supposed
Afrobeat.
This ain't supposed to go, but it works. But
it works.
What was so dope about this was that the soundtrack, it played as a co-star to the swag of a black cowboy, right? Like you had a black Western. So I'm gonna make them, because we black people have swag. I mean, this is just natural,
100%.
Right? We don't end up like
we exude it.
We exude it
in my pores.
In the pores, man. And what this film did was it shined the light on how cool these dudes were, even though they're bad guys, right? But they were cool. Homeboy, what is that? Lakeith Stanfield, his character had an earring in his ear. Did you pick up on it? I was like, wait.
I did pick up on that. It was massive. Like it was like in one sense you could look at it like they wouldn't have done that back then, but it was like, but we swaggy enough to possibly have done that back then.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? First of all, if we could talk about the cinematography, if I can gush over it a little bit, the scene, the bird's eye view shots of the train coming in, right? And you see the smoke, and I think it was the music was like, I was like, and you hear him coming in with I was like, oh, this looks so cool. Whoa. I was like, this looks so fire. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just the single wide shot of Regina King standing on the train and not moving. You know what I mean? When she popped over boy for the nincompoop thing. You know what I mean? Like, fantastic.
Do you think there should be a sequel?
If they're not going to, I honestly, I don't really want to, because I really don't want to kind of know any new characters, like some of the characters. I'm not going to do no more spoilers. Like, you know, I already messed up.
Right. And I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think some of the characters that, you know what I mean, that would possibly not be in the sequel. I don't really want to learn anything new about anybody new. I want to continue to learn about the characters that I only got a snippet of their life.
So do you think that the film did enough to pave the way for more artists to tell stories about Black Westerns, to take that leap and be like, yo, I'm going to make this a Black Western and just kind of tell a story?
The interviews and the characters and the directors explaining about that in tandem with the film is what is going to pave the way. Because I can say for a fact, like some of the interviews that I watched of, you know, the different casts and the director, like, really kind of made me like it more. Like, I think it was a couple of points that, like, you know, Samuel made where he said, did you notice that there was no white oppressor in this film? This was a film about Black characters doing their own thing in their own town. There was no white oppressor.
Wow. Even when they went to the white town, the white oppressor, right? The white oppressor that would be in that time, helped them out. Like, helped them out
exactly
with the money, took it out. No questions asked.
No questions asked.
And they showed that they had the power.
We were prominent. And even the word cowboy, like, where that originated from, you know what I mean? And then some of, like, the I believe they said Bass Reeves, the deputy sheriff, his character is inspired by the Lone Ranger.
Interesting.
You know
Oh,
yes, because you know, Bass Reeves was a real deputy and everything like that.
Right.
If you check, do your Googles, check his backstory and everything like that. Like, my man has, you know, killed 14 outlaws, took down 227, you know, different, like, arrested people. Was on the job for like 3 decades, and his character is inspired. Like, the Lone Ranger is inspired by that person, inspired by a Black man. These people are real, and you can Google all of these people and find out about them and how they, you know, work here, and see, like, oh snap, hey, I could take, you know, this character and this character, and I can blend them together, and I can make something amazing so people can learn.
Letter grade, if you had to give it to it, what would you give it?
I'm going to give it a B+.
B+. I'll
give it a B+. I'll give it a B+. I think it was solid. I think it was a well-rounded film for the most part. You know, obviously, you know, we had the things that we really truly wanted. The plus actually doesn't necessarily come from the film. It comes from something that, like I said, I usually watch the film and then I watch an interview about it. And the plus came from something that Jonathan Major said. And it was like what he said about his character and how his character in that love like to keep things even. You know what I mean? He didn't rob banks, but he'll rob robbers.
I'm a hard grader, man. Like, so immediately after I watched the film, my immediate grade was solid C+B. Right?
Ooh.
Now,
here it is.
After talking about this, it's leaning towards the B. It's leaning towards the B because of I'm a stickler for story. If you got a great story, and then you have on top of that what I said, the cinematography, the music, the violence behind it, then I'm going up with the grade. I just wanted more of the characters and I wanted a little bit more of the characters, and I wanted the story to be fleshed out a little more. Teacher, do you want to leave us with anything? Any final thoughts?
Oh man, final thoughts. Listen, I gotta start off by thank you so much for joining me on this, man. Like I said, I've been a Scriptly Adapted fan, like, bro, ever since we was at the water cooler. Shout outs to AightSoBoom. You know what I mean? Like you said, we are on Instagram right now, and we're now also on YouTube, and who knows where else we'll be featured. You know, hint, hint, wink, wink.
And this is Kayode from Scriptly Adapted Blacksploit, joined by TJ from AightSoBoom. Keep a watch on Instagram and YouTube, doing big things, content creators, Black content creators. Until next time, this is The Harder They Fall, guys. Check it out, Netflix right now.
Peace.